Samsung's big investment in Central Texas is enticing Asian companies to bring their businesses here. It is a story we first found in the Austin Business Journal. ABJ also reports more than 35,000 Asian-owned businesses operate in the Austin metro area, which is part of Austin's economic boom. Justin Sayer wrote that story for the Austin Business Journal. He joins us now to talk more about this. Justin, welcome to KVUE News Midday.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate your time. So, okay, Justin, how many Asian businesses chose Central Texas because of Samsung?
Yeah, so honestly, this coincides with Samsung. It's not completely drawn by Samsung, but because of that big project, you see headlines abroad and companies learn about Austin and want to locate here. So we've seen that wave of other Asian businesses coming here, like Pegatron and Compal in Williamson County, LS Electric and Bastrop, just SoftBank and Hutto. So it's really spanning all industries in every area of the metro.
So how much money are we talking about when it comes to those investments?
Definitely into the billions.
Sure.
I mean, one company, we just wrote about them last week, Soulbrain is building an acid plant in Taylor. That could be $650 million just by itself. So, very safe to say it's well into the billions when you consider all these projects.
Now, your reporting said Asian-owned businesses make up 12% of all area companies. That's a 42% jump since 2020. So besides Samsung's presence, what do they like about Central Texas? Why are they coming here?
Yeah, so you mentioned that number. So that's 35,000 Asian-owned businesses. 10,000 of those are employer firms, so basically means they employ someone. Mm-hmm. So with those businesses, that's up 42% compared to the general growth rate, which is 18%. So you can see it's growing faster. Yeah, very significant. And what they see again, seeing those headlines abroad, like seeing Elon Musk, that's news that makes it throughout the world, and seeing the words Austin next to Elon Musk. The big Dell Medical Center announcement from a couple months ago, that makes it on an international scale where people want to be part of that dynamic. It's similar to why any company wants to be here. It just happens that it's coming from Asia, but that's the stuff that really allures them. And then also our workforce, our available land, our available industrial sites, the industries that we have here, like the list just keeps going on and on.
You touched on workforce. Is our workforce prepared for this kind of growth, the industrial, the biotech?
Yeah, I mean, that is the ultimate question. Any company we talk to in any industry, number one concern is always workforce. You see the initiatives that are happening here, especially in the realms of, manufacturing and other things like that. Like, from everyone we've talked to, we're still in good position. When Tesla hired nearly 30,000 people, our workforce held. We were still able to find jobs at other places and people to work here. What's interesting is it's actually stretching the metro, so you're getting people commuting in from Bell County now to work here, which is causing the traffic issues. So there are things that we still need to work on, but in terms of finding people to work at these factories and these new companies, that has not been a problem yet.
Well, that is good news. All right, so the Greater Austin Asian Chamber of Commerce calls this a tipping point. Why is that?
Yeah, so for years, when Samsung first came to town in the 90s, we have been making a concerted effort here to court companies from Asia and Korea. Over the last several years, that has ramped up. We've opened trade offices in Taiwan and a couple other in Korea. We've made recruitment trips, Governor Abbott's office and, Wilco EDP and other groups are doing these trips regularly. Now with this data and those companies that I listed off, those who are doing that are really feeling like this is all that work of 20 years and expecting this is starting to come to fruition and, starting to reach a point where we are on that radar and people are choosing the Austin area over other areas like Houston, Dallas, or Northern California.
And so with this boom, there are still barriers in place, right? So can you talk about some of those barriers?
Yeah, so I mentioned a couple of those other cities like Houston and Dallas. They're just set up to support, Asian-owned businesses and people who are coming from abroad a little better than we are, just based on history and building that ecosystem of the things besides workforce and finding leases. It's the other stuff like churches and restaurants and, the community, the stuff that, helps you enjoy your day-to-day and want to live here and enjoy living here. So there's a lot of work being done on that end. We just opened our first Korean-owned bank a few months ago in Williamson County. So like there are things that are happening to make that transition a lot easier. But again, based on the data that the local Asian Chamber found, they are starting to see that people are coming here, moving here, and staying here, which was very new compared to recent history.
And that has added to the Asian American population in Austin and Travis County. That's going up. So.
Definitely, yeah. That was one of the other data points found in that report.
Yeah, Justin Sayers, so interesting. Thank you so much for joining us to discuss this.
Yeah, thank you so much for highlighting our story.
Absolutely, we appreciate it.